A trip to Namibia always brings to mind vast expanses of land with dramatic landscape, deserts, the ocean, mountains, but also the fact that you have to drive several kilometers to get from A to B. On this episode of Across All Borders Going South, it's all about the road to Luderitz, from Sesriem Camp to Luderitz, 466 kilometers.
Ja, das stimmt, der läuft anders. Okay,
when I got to Namibia and was doing my research about where I wanted to go to, I had decided I wanted to visit Luderitz, but I didn't even take into consideration what the distance was. So after a couple of days of doing research and posting in the Namibia from the roadside group, a lot of people suggested self-driving, even people I talked to. Now in retrospect, I am so glad I did not drive myself, but rightfully said, if you want to visit a lot of these places in Namibia, you need a vehicle to get from A to B. Whether or not you drive yourself is your choice. Now,
guys, this is apparently the Hollywood of Namibia because they've got their own sign, but yes, we are in Luderitz, and you see that it has a lot of rock formation along the coast. It's really beautiful. Sun's currently rising.
I remember how many cars we passed on the road whilst driving. Bear in mind, I'm mostly a solo traveler, so I travel by myself. I did not want to rent a car and be by myself on those lonely roads, especially because I do not drive, or I did not learn how to drive on the side of the road that people driving in Southern and Eastern Africa, and I hadn't driven in a long time, so it was important for me to have someone driving so I could concentrate on enjoying the landscape and capturing the landscape for us to share. So I'm so grateful that for my trip to Namibia, I met Randy, who did a 6-day trip throughout Namibia with me. We started off from Windhoek to Spitzkoope, from Spitzkoope to Sesriem, and then from Sesriem to Luderitz. One thing I have to say is that if you're planning to visit Namibia, then please bear in mind there are several kilometers involved and you need to bring the time to enjoy it because these are dramatic and very interesting landscapes. What we did was, after the 2 nights at Sesriem, so doing Sesriem Canyon, Sauces Flay with Big Daddy, we started on day 4 at 7:30 in the morning, getting gas at the gas station opposite the Sesriem camp, and also checking our tires because, you know, with the distance, it doesn't mean that there are petrol stations in between everywhere. And you have to know where the next one is, which is the cool thing. Of course, you can find that out in a map, you can get it in an app, but I had Randy, so I didn't need to know that, right? And he knew where we were gonna get gas. So we stopped at Betta for coffee, and the structure he did was that we got gas when we got to Luderitz. So our trip, 7:30 in the morning, and we got to Luderitz at 6 in the evening. Now, according to Google, you can do the trip in 6 hours, but it really depends on what you want to do. I wanted to stop, I wanted to take in things, I wanted to kind of like, you know, it's just like overwhelming being there, so you want to take the time to actually enjoy that.
Guys, this is not an uncommon road sign because here you've got wild animals. It is quite close to a nature reserve, so be careful that when you're driving here, wild animals might cross. We've seen springboks, we've seen oryxes, not the zebras yet, but it shouldn't be a surprise to you.
At Betta, it was awesome to stop there for coffee. It's really cool to see how much effort is put into this, you know, the places you can stop in between. So for example, from Spitzkoope to Sesriem, we stopped at Solitaire. Some people even do 1 or 2 nights there. I've heard that the skies are super clear, like in Spitzkoope, and you can have an amazing experience there. Better as well, I think they have accommodation, but we just grabbed a coffee and we started to head towards Luderitz.
A road trip in Namibia sometimes can take very long, so breaks at the right places make for perfect picture moments just like this one. We're at Betta. We're at Betta on the way to Luderitz. So make your stop, grab a coffee, grab something from the shop, and have a beautiful view of the Namibian landscape.
We made another stop in Aus. and got something to eat. I ordered Spätzle. I would recommend not doing that. They didn't look like anything I know, but all the same, it was a great stop. Now, then we continued to Luderitz. At Luderitz, we didn't go straight to where we were staying. We went to visit DS Point at sunset, and that was absolutely magnificent. I'm gonna do that on a separate video so you can take in all of that beauty. About Luderitz. Luderitz is a coastal town with a German colonial history. So I want to put it this way. It's like someone took a little village from Germany and put it on the soils of Africa. That's what it felt like to me. Now, saying that because I've lived 16 years in Germany, now in my 17th year, I did want to see it because I have lived in 1 or 2 little villages in Germany, and I really wanted to see if someone literally took their hometown and put it on someone else's continent, which is what happened with Luderitz. So it was interesting seeing like the Einkaufsstraße, which is not like anything compared to the one in Munich or in Berlin or in Hamburg, because it's a smaller town. And then you have the Felsenkirche and the museum that you can visit. You have Luderitz books that you can visit. But a lot of people actually make their way to Luderitz for Koolmanscoop, the ghost town, because Luderitz has a mining history. And the interesting thing about Koolmanscoop, which I will do a separate video on, is the fact that they had electricity before a lot of other places. That was interesting. So that's a good place to actually visit, to see and to learn about what happened there. So those were the reasons why I wanted to go to Luderitz, in case you're asking yourself, why should I put myself through this? And if you're starting from Fish River Canyon, then it's, you know, it's a stopover before you continue to other places. But I was going the other way, so we got to Luderitz, and then from Luderitz we went to Fish River Canyon. So there is quite a number of things that you can do in Luderitz. There are interesting places to visit, to add on to your activity. In fact, I think that you should have at least 2 nights in Luderitz so you can get the most of it, because they have at least, I would say, 9 points of interest around Luderitz that you could visit. So be sure to check that out. But for this episode, let me just share with you the experience of the drive from Sesriem Camp to Luderitz.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need. We're broken, it's tragic. We're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it. And I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that is blackness.
I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Yours truly, Liesel81.